Do you like cruising? Or how about playing roulette to win a free cruise? Well, let me show you this strategy my wife and I used on our last cruise. We earned over 4,000 points between the two of us. Let's check it out. So a couple of weeks ago, on Sunday Night Spins, a guy shared a strategy with me, and he explained it to me and how to set it up. We kind of went back and forth about a name, so we settled on Point Pusher. So let me show you how we set it up. So the way the strategy goes is you have to bet 3 to 1. Okay, so pretty much you take 3 stacks of 3 chips. Okay, this is kind of where we're going to start it at. It doesn't matter if it's $2 chips, if it's $5 chips, $25 chips, whatever. So we're going to say 3 chips. So you take 3 chips, and let's say you put it on the third column. You can put it on the first column if you wanted, or the third column. It has to be one of those two, so 3 chips there. Then you take your other 6 chips here, and you put a chip on the first corner, second, third, fourth, and 5th corner, starting on this end, okay? Then you take your last chip and you place it on the basket. So this strategy is not meant to be a moneymaker strategy. This is meant to be a comp strategy. Everything on the board is a push. So everything from the 7-9 street right here all the way down is a push. Okay? Your only losses with this strategy are 1, 4, and 5. But your win is 0, 0, and 2. Now, when that wins, that pays 11 to 1. So you have 6 or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So your profit would be 3 chips. Okay? So that's the only profit on this strategy is 2, 0, 0. Your losses are 1, 4, 5, and everything else is a push. Okay? So let's set this up. We're going to set it up like we're going to buy in, and we're going to play the strategy at $45. So this strategy is called the Point Pusher. Let me set it up. Okay, so we're going to buy in for $300. And remember, you got to give them your cash, your CPass card. They'll scan it. They'll give you the card back. We'll put it away. So that's $300. And we're going to get $300 in red chips, which are $5 chips. Okay, so now we're going to set it up as a $45 average. So we take 3 chips, so 3 reds. And then we go 1 corner, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we bet the basket at $5. So right now, we've got $45 out on the table. Now, this will put you an average of $45. And based on the math on most of the ships I've been on, you should get 45 points every 10 spins. But that's not guaranteed. I just disembarked Voyager just the other day, and they were rating this strategy a lot better. Some of the tables were rating low. Some of them were rating high. So we tried to stick to the one that was rating high so we could get more points out of it. So anyway, so this is just the starting strategy here, okay? So here we go, Point Pusher at a $45 average. Let's just go 10 spins. And with these 10 spins, we're just going to say $45 average, 10 spins. We're going to get 45 or 50 points, okay? Let's just see how it does. All right, so 22, that's a push. Okay, we're not going to rake the table. We're just going to say it's a push, and we're just going to spin it again. All right, so this is spin 2. And I'm really liking this strategy. Most everybody that saw the strategy while we were on the cruise really liked the strategy as well. Okay, 30, that's a push. So the thing with this strategy is your wins have to outrun your loss 3-1. So you hope you get 3 wins before you get 1 loss. Or if you get 1 loss, you're hoping you can get 3 wins to recoup that loss, okay? Because it'll take 3 wins to recoup the $45 set here. Okay, so we're at 15. All right, and that was push. And we'll go these 10 spins here, and then what we'll do is we'll increase it. We'll take it up to $90 a spin. And the only thing you have to do is just double your bets. Okay? All right, so we hit 5. There's our bust number. All right, so we lose 45 right there. Now we're just reset. All right, so we put 1 there, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 3 there. And here we go. So that took 4 spins and we had a loss. Now on the cruise, I was playing this strategy. The first time I sat down and played this strategy, it went 41 spins before I had 1 loss. I started with, I started at a lower level than this. With the $2 chips, you can kind of reduce it down a little bit cheaper. Okay, 35, that's a push. But when you go to the $2 chips, you would have to place 6 chips here. So 6 and 2 for all your corners and 2 on the basket in order to meet the table minimum, which is $10. Okay, 36, that's a push. All right, this is pin number 7. And you can alternate it if you would like. You can change your column over here, move it back and forth. You can kind of change your losses to, the 1 and 4 here. You can change it over to 3 and 6. You can kind of go back and forth. All right, there we go. So we got a win on the 2. All right, so we're gonna rake it all. We're gonna pay this, but it pays 11-1. Okay, so there is 11. Now we're gonna reset. And then 3 chips. And then there is our 3 chip profit. So now we're going to bring that back to our rack. And once I go through this, I kind of want to show you what I was doing with it to kind of make it a little more profitable, or at least to kind of scratch some coins back from them, right? All right, so 15. Or chips, I must say. All right, we're going to spin number 9. Okay, 10, that's another push. Okay, so far we had 1 loss, which we lost $45. We had 1 win, which we profited $15. So at the end of 10 spins, let's see how it does. 29. All right, that's a push. Okay, so after 10 spins at $45, we are down $30. Okay, so we've lost $30. We went 10 spins. We had our average at $45. So let me show you what I was doing to kind of recoup some money. Okay, we're not trying to get a lot of money out of this system. We just want to reduce our risk as much as possible. So this is what I started doing was they would spin, and let's see where it lands. Just giving you ideas that when you're playing on the ship or you're trying to get your points, this is something to do if you've had a loss to kind of start recouping some of that money a little bit at a time. Okay. All right. So we hit 19. So what I would start doing was I would pull this corner. Okay. Because what I'm hoping it will not hit 19, 20, 22, 23. Okay. It opens us up for 4 more numbers. So now we have 7 numbers exposed. But you know, in order to get a little more money out of them, you can try this and just see how it goes. Okay, so you've gone from a $45 to now you're at $40 because we brought one back. Okay, 32. Now what that does is it was a push with that one in play, but now it's actually a one chip win. So I replace that chip, then I pull this one. Okay, I bring this one back to my rack. It's a little more risk, but you know, if you can get a couple of them out of them here and there, just pull one every so often. So while you're playing, maybe you can do it 3 times and then kind of go back to normal, and then do it 3 more times and go back to normal. Okay, so there's 5. That's a bust number. Okay, but we only lost 40. Okay, so now we go there. Now we take these 2 and we're going to reset back to our original. So this is just an idea of something to do. Now you could take a risk and you could go ahead and pull one again. You know, but we had recovered 10 of our 45, so we only lost $35 for that cycle. All right, double zero, great win. We know that is a 3 chip profit. Okay, so I'm going to bring those 3 chips back to my rack. And let's see, so we hit double zero. So I'm going to pull this one. It's a little bit of a risk, but let's just open it up. Let's just see what happens. Okay, 10. All right, so instead of it being a push, because we pulled that one, that's actually a 1 chip profit. So now we're going to pull this one. Okay, I know it looks like a lot's going on and a lot to keep up with, but after you run the strategy a little bit, you'll start understanding where everything's at, and kind of get the feeling as to where you can pull a chip from. Okay. Okay, so we're say spin 15 right now. All right, there's 6. All right, so because it's on that column, it would be a push, but we have this 1 chip we've taken off. That is a profit right there. So I would just leave it. I would set everything back just like it is right here. Go ahead and reset back to the original. I mean, you could pull one off over there, but the problem with that is if you lose, you're actually going to lose a couple of extra chips. Okay, so let's just go with this right here. All right, so 14, that's a push. So we're going to pull this chip now. All right. All right, it's a spin 16, give or take. All right, 18. All right, it hit that column. It would be a push, but this one here was taken off, so that's a 1 chip profit. And on the cruise, I would look and I'd be like, I seriously doubt it's going to hit that group of 6 numbers again. I would go ahead and pull this one. All right, so right now we've got $35 we've won for this cycle, or we profited. Okay, 11. All right, so we had that one removed, so that is a 1 chip profit. We're going to pull this one. All right, there we go. All right, what do you think? Give me your thoughts. Put them down in the comments for me. Let me know what you think of this strategy. All right, 5. That 5 is eat us alive, okay? All right, so there we go. So we lost that. All right. So that is $40 loss right there. But over that cycle, we actually broke even. All right. So there we go. We got enough to do 3 there. All right, so that was $40. So we had a $40 recovery. So let's leave this one off. Let's see if we get lucky. One more spin. But you can play it. You can just leave it the same the entire time if you like. All right, there it is. That is the one chip profit. All right, so we're going to bring them on back to the rack here. All right, so there we go. So now we've gone 20 spins. And we're down $65. Okay, so $65 is where we're at right now as a loss. All right, we've gone 20 spins. Our average was $45. Okay, so now what I want to do is show you. Let's go up to the $90 level with it now. And I've got another thing I was doing just to kind of get a few dollars out of it as we went. Okay, so when you go up to $90, we have our $5 chips here. So we have to go 6 chips here. Okay, and then we're going to go 2 chips, 2 chips, 2 chips, and 2, and 2, and 2 there. All right, so we're at $90. And let's see if we can go 10 spins again. But the strategy does really, really well for, time at the table. I kind of wish we had a little bigger win. But, you're just if you're there for just time at the table and trying not to lose any money and getting your average up high as possible, this strategy has worked really well. My wife and I played this strategy on the cruise, and we earned, between the two of us, we earned 4,000 points. And we only lost about $500 total to get those 4,000 points. So it may seem like a lot, but in the whole course of everyone else sharing their experiences on the cruise, trying to earn their points, they lose a lot more money. All right, 12. It's a push. All right, we're going to go 5 spins here, and then I'm going to change it up and show you what I was doing. Okay, so 19. That's a push. All right, 3. That's a push. All right, this is spin number 5. So after this spin, I'm going to show you what I had started doing on the cruise. That seemed to work out okay. All right, 00. Okay. All right, so that should be $30. Okay, so that should pay 22 chips. Okay, so we're going to reset. 2 chips, 2, 2, 2, 2. And there's 6 chips there. And then we're going to bring this back to our rack. So that is a $30 profit right there. So we bring that back. Okay. All right, so since that one, we're not going to pull the chip off of it. I kind of like to keep that active at all times. Okay, 1. There's a bust. All right, so we're going to reset back to $90. All right, so there's $90 out there again. Yeah, so this system here covers 92% of the board. All right, 12. Okay, 20. That's a push. Okay, so this is what I started doing. I would just pull one of these chips. So there's 2 on there, so I'm just going to pull 1. If it lands on 19, 20, 22, or 23, that's a $45 loss. So we don't lose the entire thing. All right, so 33. Okay, so that would be a push, but we took one chip off. So we're going to say one chip profit right there. And we're going to make this one 1 now. So 2 here, 1 there. And it may not seem like much, but you know, it's just kind of recovering a little bit if we can. It's the only way, I think the only way you can keep it fairly, I don't want to say profitable, but it made it survivable. Okay, and there we go. So we hit 34, which is not exactly the right number to hit. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so there's $40 lost right there. Now we're going to reset. Okay, so there's 6 right there. Now, if you wanted to play with a little more risk, take both chips off. That way, everywhere is a $10 profit. We're going to bring that back to our rack. And we're going to move this one down to here. Let's just go a little more. So we're at 11 spins right now. Let's see if we can survive long enough to recover our $90 we lost. Okay, 36. All right, that's a $10 profit. All right, we're going to move that one there. And you're really opening yourself up for risk. That's the only negative to doing that. But we're kind of hoping it's not going to hit that same area twice in a row. Okay, 19. That's a $10 win or profit. We'll bring that back to our rack. And right now we're $40. We've recovered $40 that we've lost. Okay, 20. That's another $10 win. Profit right there. We're going to shift that down to there. But I mean, you could play this and not take both chips off. You could take one chip off. You could leave them all the same. You could start taking the other ones off. All right, double zero. All right, so that is a 22 chip win there. Okay, so there's 22. Now we're going to reset. Okay, now let's go ahead and just bring these back right there so everybody can see where our profits are right now. All right, 16. Okay, so that's a push. That's a push because we've got everything bet. So now we're going to pull this one. And now we have $90 sitting right here. Okay, 12. That's a $10 profit. We'll bring it back to our rack. We're going to go ahead and pull this one. And 5. That 5 has gotten us 4 times tonight, hasn't it? All right, so that's a bust. All right, so let's just reset. Okay, so after that bust, we can still take, we're going to take $10 back, or not 10, but $20 back to our rack. Our average is, again, staying at $90 the entire time. So we've been at $90 for, this is 18, right now 18 spins, I think, is where we're at for $90. That's some really good points at $90, at a $90 average. All right, so there's 20. So we're going to pull this one. But this is kind of how I was playing the strategy. I would go off and on, kind of pull one or two here and there, and then, you know, and then I would kind of go to just normal and just kind of slowly recover a loss, you know. All right, so that's a $10 profit. We're going to bring that back to our rack. We're going to take this one. We're going to move it here. Okay. But my wife would just play the strategy. She would just run it the exact same every single time. She wouldn't open herself up to any more numbers. But after she had a loss and she had another loss, then she was kind of in the hole pretty bad at that point. All right, so there we go. We hit 2. All right, so that is a 22 chip win right there. Okay, I'm going to reset. Okay, so we got 6 chips there, 2 across everything else. All right, and there we go. You can see this is our profit for this session. No, well, that was spin 20. Okay, we're going to finish this one here. But playing a $90 average, we bought in for $300, and we have survived over 20 spins. All right, so that's 27. So that's a push because I didn't pull anything off of there. All right, so let's just count it up. Let's see what we have. Okay, so we have $275. So there you have it. That is the point pusher strategy. If you're not following the channel, every Sunday night, I try to do every Sunday night, unless I've got something going on, I try to do a Sunday night spins. I go live, I spin out some strategies. I would go for about an hour, and people chat in. They got questions about anything roulette related, anything cruise related. I try to answer what questions I can. But a couple Sundays ago, somebody gave me this strategy, and a guy named Ryan, and he said, hey, give this a try. Except when he told me about it, it was at a $225 level. And when I go on a cruise, I don't take a bankroll to cover that kind of betting. Okay, this strategy can survive if you maybe if you buy in for $500 and do the $225. It can survive, but you're running away from these losses, which is it's kind of hard to do. Sometimes they'll get on a run and you'll get one, and then a couple spins later, boom, it'll hit again. That's what I've experienced anyway. But there was one session that went 40-something spins before it hit, before the bad numbers hit. And after that session was over, I think I was up right at $170 profit at that time. So anyway, so that's the strategy there. I know it's kind of hit or miss, just sharing with you guys kind of how the strategy is set up. We spun it out. You saw I went at the $90 level. It's not guaranteed, but you have 92% coverage on the table. There isn't too many strategies out there that have this kind of coverage that has a pretty good win. I mean, you win like 33% is what you win down here. Another thing I started doing, let me show you real quick. So another thing is when I was at the 3 chip Okay, so I'd have $45. Okay. Okay, so let's say I played it and I just let it run just like this, and it was 19, it was 18, it was 10, it was 28. Okay, and then boom, there's a 2. Okay, that 2 is a 3-chip profit. Okay, so what I would do a few times, I took those 3 chips and I'm like, where's the best place to put these 3 chips? Let's put these 3 chips to work. And so I would drop them on the 3 here, and then we would see what would happen. Okay, so then I would drop it here, or I would drop it on these 3. I would pick 3 of these corners, whichever ones I felt like it might hit on, and let's see what happens. See if we can get lucky. See if we can hit it with me explaining it to you. Okay, well, wow. Okay, so you see how the system works. Okay, so that's a complete bust. Okay, so, but let's say it hits 17. Okay, so that pays 8-1, but we have 2 chips on there, so that's 16. So we would lose everything. And let's pay out 16. Okay, so then I would reset back to the original 45. And then there is a $45 profit. Okay, so we have the 3 that we had won previously, but we took those 3 and we turned those in to 6-chip profit. So we took 3 and we turned it into 9 chips total on one cycle. Now, it's not any more risk. It's giving yourself an opportunity for it to be profitable. If you can hit one of these, throw those 3 chips out here, and maybe you'll get lucky and hit one of them. Okay, that's just kind of what I did a few times. I had a loss, and then whenever I won the next time, I'm like, well, I got to put these 3 chips to try to recover. So just an idea of what to do with the strategy. It's a little more advanced, I would say, to do that. But that's how I could have this strategy survive for so long, was because I was doing some things like that to kind of help it out just a little bit. It's a great strategy for comps, but it's difficult for it to survive without pressing some, pulling one here and there. There are kind of things you can do to make the system just a little better, but it's also more risk. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that is the point pusher strategy that Ryan gave me a couple weeks ago. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you don't mind, make sure to like this video and be sure to subscribe to 35-1 Roulette Cruising. And until next time, happy cruising and see ya.